What a beautiful morning for a Wednesday. Thank you for joining me. I'm starting to feel the smoke and crap come out of me, like my chest and my head and even in my face and everything. It's kind of crazy how toxic that shit is. So I'm happy that God took it away and I'm getting rid of it. It's been 3 days now and it's going to take a bit to get better, but it's working. It's working. I don't want it anymore. Simple as that. It's weird. It just I just didn't want it anymore. It was killing me. And it's just gone. Just like that. Cold turkey. Best way to do it. Delivery job is going fine. I have work every day. I'm getting used to it now. So it's sort of like a race. It's kind of funny because we all pull up on the side of the building and we get deliveries. There's a few cars there, like 3 or 4 cars yesterday. There's going to be more on the weekend because it's going to get busier. But we'll come up in behind each other and get a delivery, go, pull up, get a delivery, go, come back, get a delivery, go, and yeah, it's going to work out pretty good. All right, we're in the prophetic section here. And this is going to have to do with the 7 letters to the 7 ecclesias. So, yeah, this is going to go pretty much extensive into it. So, the prophetic section, the divine name Jehovah is a union of 3 tenses of to be. He will be, being, he was. The reverse arrangement of this is used once in the Unveiling chapter 4 verse 8. He was, being, he will be, by the 4 animals. Here and in Unveiling chapter 1 verse 8, the present tense is put first to emphasize the fact that he is now present. The being, the was, the coming one. And I'll show it to you down here. They've got it in here. See how that's put in there? It's pretty neat. It shows you just right there where it is in the prophetic section. In the Unveiling chapter 17 and Unveiling chapter 16, verse 5, the phrase, who is coming, is omitted because he is regarded as having come at that time. The name is flexible and adapts itself to times and conditions. In spirit, John on the island of Patmos is transported into the future day of Jehovah, of which the prophets have often spoken. The Hebrew phrase, the day of the Lord, is changed to the Lord's day in order to shift the emphasis from the character of the day to the time, which is the important point of this passage. This is done in 3 ways, by changing the grammatical form, the rank, and the order of the words. The direction of the thought is altered by putting Lord, quote unquote, in the dative instead of the genitive case, so that it locates rather than describes the day. It locates it in time, I would say there. As you go along with the divine calendar, you would see that. So yes, its force is further weakened by making it an adjective rather than a noun, and by shifting it from its prominent place at the end of the sentence and giving that striking location to day, quote unquote. 7 lampstands stand for a scattered Israel, as the 1 7-branch lampstand in the tabernacle and the temple stood for a United Nations. These ecclesias, which is the 7, are all in the dispersion. The description and acts here ascribed to Christ are not priestly, but accord with his prophetic office. The prophet's function was to point out God's method of procedure. At first, this was done privately by the seers, then officially by the prophets. Prophets are sent especially in apostasy. Christ wears none of the priestly vestments, except the girdle, and this is of gold, not of fine twined linen. Exodus 39:29. The scene is one of judgment, which the apostle tells us must begin at the house of God. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 17. The sword indicates this. Cross-reference Daniel chapter 10, verse 5. Stars stand for those whose spirits are in touch with God. Daniel 12, verse 3. Concordant version. Abraham's seed was to become as the stars of the heaven. His physical progeny are like the sand upon the seashore. First and last, Isaiah 41:4, 44:6, 48:12, Unveiling chapter 2, verse 8, and 22, verse 13, is a title of Jehovah, the King of Israel and his Redeemer. The word are, A-R-E, in quotes, must be given the same sense here as in the verse, in verse chapter 20. The 7 stars are, and the lampstands are. It is a metaphor. There are 3 mysteries or secrets in this scroll. The 7 stars and lampstands are in Christ's hands as prophet. The secret of God, Unveiling 10:7, is finished when Christ as king receives the sovereignty of the world. The secret of Babylon is in the temple section. Unveiling 17:5 and 7. Okay, we're going to continue tomorrow with the 7 letters to the 7 ecclesias. So I'm breaking it down as small as possible, like section by section. So this prophetic section goes a ways, but it breaks down into sections of the prophetic section, if you know what I mean. So the 7 letters come up next to the 7 ecclesias. And this is of the dispersion. These are 7 ecclesias from the dispersion, Israel, that was sent into the whole world. So this is where it comes from, these 7 letters. And it's explained awesome here. All right. Have a wonderful Wednesday. We will see you tomorrow. Grace and peace.